The strike continues on the SIUC campus as the union goes round the clock to get a new deal. Plus, Illinois owes billions to small businesses and nonprofits. In some cases, this means they can't deliver. And the possibility of the closing of a local youth center may mean the loss of dozens of jobs.
Live from the campus of Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. Bringing you the news from around the world and across the river region. This is the Evening Edition.
The Faculty Association, as of now, is still on strike, but it looks like an agreement may come soon. Good evening. I'm Isabel Lewo.
And I'm David Ade. It's now the sixth day tenure and tenure-track professors are not on the job. Many students are faced with empty classrooms, and the entire campus hopes for a resolution. Jana Kennedy is here with more. Jana?
David, I was outside the bargaining rooms all day today, and both sides seem frustrated. The faculty and administration has been meeting with a federal mediator all day. After bargaining for over 27 hours on Sunday and through Monday, both groups decided to take a break last night. They returned to the bargaining table today, but agreement still has not been made. Spokesperson for the Faculty Association says progress has been made in some areas.
There's a relatively small number of issues that remain to be resolved. And so if both sides are willing and able to be flexible and to compromise and to meet in the middle, an agreement is possible within a fairly short time frame.
Johnson says the big differences the faculty and administration have are over furlough days in the future. And a new sticking point is if the faculty will be paid for the days they missed on strike. Of course, rumors are flying, but no one could tell us if they are close to an agreement. There is still no word whether bargaining teams will camp out again tonight or go home and continue tomorrow. David, Isabel, back to you.
Thanks, Jana. And meanwhile, the SIUC administration has gone directly to the campus community to state its case. An email sent by SIUC Chancellor Rita Chang outlines the proposals the university says it has brought to the table. The university says it will guarantee no furloughs for the 2012 fiscal year. The email says the university will include the Faculty Association in discussions about declaring a financial emergency. But the university will not agree to reimburse the lost wages or benefits for any faculty member participating in the strike.
And many students face classes without their professors and are making their voices heard. Hundreds of students, faculty, and community members met outside of Anthony Hall this afternoon to protest in solidarity with the Faculty Association. The group marched around campus in an effort to get the administration to come to an agreement. This rally came after a similar one held yesterday afternoon. According to an FA member, this was the largest student protest that she has seen in the 10 years she's been here.
Well, David, it was another beautiful fall day outside.
It really was. 70 degrees in November. I couldn't believe it outside. I don't know what's going on with these temperatures, but Kristen Hafter is in now. Tell us what is going on. 70 degrees, Kristen. Why is it so warm?
Well, the 70-degree weather was nice, but is going to start changing starting tomorrow. But tonight we are going to start seeing some isolated thunderstorms, and we will have an overnight low of 58 degrees, which really isn't too bad for a low either, but temperatures aren't going to warm up too much tomorrow. We will see some of those showers sticking in through tomorrow morning, but they will clear up by the midday, where we'll have partly cloudy skies, but we'll only see a high of 58 degrees. And if you stick around for my full forecast, I'll let you know what temperatures will be like later on in the week. Until then, David, back to you.
Thanks, Kristen. $5 billion. That's the amount the state owes to businesses all over Illinois, impacting doctors, hospitals, and social service agencies statewide. Evening Edition's Chris Slaby joins us live in studio. Chris?
By the end of 2011, it's estimated the total amount owed to businesses and agencies will go up to $8 billion. I spoke with two local businesses which depend on money from the state. He said the current situation is daunting, but in the end, it'll be not a matter of if, but when they'll be paid. The Good Samaritan House is a nonprofit that helps underprivileged families all over Jackson County. This year, the house is on pace to serve around 29,000 meals to people who can't afford to eat and house numerous homeless every night. Now, it's going to be tougher for Good Samaritan to offer its services.
We're getting squeezed from both ends. We're getting squeezed on funds, and then we're getting squeezed on our numbers going up.
Good Samaritan is owed more than $11,000 by the state of Illinois. But unfortunately, it's not the only one in such a predicament. According to this website, Deadbeat, which is an effort to offer bill transparency from the Illinois Comptroller's Office, there are thousands of businesses and agencies waiting to be paid in Illinois, totaling nearly $5 billion.
The only way, really, we can prioritize it, because it's extremely subjective. We try to pay as they come in. We try to pay the oldest bills first and get those, so that we don't have people waiting forever for these things.
But is this really the case? On September 15th, Illinois Governor Pat Quinn's office pushed through a $285,000 settlement to a former Chicago alderman. This just 2 weeks after the lawsuit was settled. In the meantime, Illinois owes nearly $3 million in 70 similar cases, some nearly a year old. According to the Associated Press, nearly 9 out of 10 Illinois human service organizations have experienced either spending cuts or delayed payments over the past year. Woodard Wellness Group noticed a 2-month delay in payments from HealthLink Insurance about 3 years ago. Now it takes an average of 5 months for Woodard to be reimbursed.
We're like anybody else. We've got bills to pay, we've got payroll to meet, we've got taxes to pay, and it's kind of ironic. The state still wants us to pay their taxes, but they don't want to pay us what services we rendered.
The irony continues with the Illinois prompt payment statute. If the state fails to reimburse a medical bill within 30 to 60 days, Illinois must pay 9% interest. Last year, the state paid $27 million in such interest alone.
We're being told, well, we don't want to go any further in debt, but they're already in debt to the medical providers because they borrowed the money off of our backs and expect us just to wait for it. And as I said, paying us 9% when they could go out and borrow it for 3 or 4%, have the debt paid down to us, and it wouldn't be any different than what they're paying now, except they'd be saving a lot in interest.
Feel better?
Now, Governor Quinn does want to borrow money to pay the bills. However, state Republicans say, quote, bad policy to use long-term bonds to pay for everyday expenses is just bad policy, end quote. While Dr. Woodard is reimbursed, even if late, Good Samaritan Ministries is not sure when it will receive its $11,000 payment. However, it is hoping to receive the payment early 2012. Isabel and David, back to you.
Illinois officials will hold the first nationwide test of the emergency broadcast system tomorrow. Officials say that the federal government will shorten this test from 3 minutes to 30 seconds. The test will be similar to those regularly heard on TV and radio, but the difference is that people in all 50 states will hear it at the same time. This will allow the president to address the U.S. public in extreme emergencies.
Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich will address the court at his sentencing hearing on December 6th. The defense says the hearing might run into a second day since both sides will argue about appropriate punishment. The 54-year-old Blagojevich will be sentenced on a total of 18 corruption charges. Legal experts say the former governor is likely to receive a prison sentence of around 10 years. A youth center in Murfreesboro is on the verge of closing.
And find out how this could affect the community.
Illinois Governor Pat Quinn has threatened to close a juvenile prison in Murfreesboro, even though a recent government panel voted not to close this Illinois Youth Center. Many people in southern Illinois are worried about the outcome. Jana Kennedy reports.
Why was this facility chosen?
It's a question on many people's mind here in southern Illinois. It was apparent when over 200 people showed up for a public hearing about the facility's closure. AFSCME President Greg Foreman says he was shocked when he heard the news and couldn't understand why the center was chosen.
It just hit us right between the eyes.
A panel from Springfield answered some of those questions local lawmakers and community members had.
First of all, 96% of the youth that's at Murfreesboro, 96% of the youth that's committed come from counties outside of the southern region.
The board added youth are better off in centers close to home.
Some of what Chris said in terms of the population being down and the cost efficiencies, but more important and more to the point, our reason is that youth are better served, particularly low-level offending youth, if they are treated within their community.
The state also wants to close the center to save money, but a study by the Regional Economic Applications Laboratory says closing the center would cost nearly $23 million to the community.
It's going to save the state $4.1 million if closing this facility. In turn, it's going to cost $23.5 million to this area. Now, I'm not a mathematician or financial wizard, but something's wrong with that picture.
For some people, this is a huge problem.
It's very personal.
Julie Nolan and her husband both work at the youth center while she takes care of her father with cancer.
We have 2 little girls, you know, and it just, it's so unnerving not knowing if you're not going to be able to provide for your family.
The board recommended the center not be closed, but Governor Quinn still makes the final call.
But now it's up to them, you know. I mean, we're you know, for lack of better words, we're at their mercy as to what kind of decisions they make. You know, we're just hoping that they make the right decision.
In Murfreesboro, Jana Kennedy, Evening Edition.
The panel voted 7-4 in favor of the center, but the final decision has not yet been made. State legislators returned to the Capitol today and are currently negotiating whether or not to keep the center open.
An Illinois House committee has approved a smaller gambling expansion plan earlier today. The new plan would allow slot machines at horse racing tracks, but not in Chicago airports. Democratic Representative Lou Lang says the measure could be changed even more before a vote by the full House. The governor has a number of concerns about the bill and has threatened to veto it.
More Americans are getting behind on their mortgage payments. Credit reporting agency TransUnion says the number of people who are 60 days or more late on their mortgages rose to nearly 6% in the third quarter. This marks the first rise in mortgage delinquency since 2009. TransUnion says high unemployment rate and lower home values were in part to blame for the increase. Florida and Nevada saw the highest rate of people failing to pay their mortgages, while North and South Dakota saw the fewest delinquencies.
The friendly skies just got a lot greener. United Airlines flew from Houston to Chicago with jet fuel made from algae yesterday. This was the first biofuel-powered commercial flight in the U.S. Analysts say biofuel could eventually lead to better fuel price control for the airlines. Tomorrow, Alaska Airlines is expected to launch the first of flights powered by a biofuel blend made from used cooking oil. Kristen Hafner is in next with your River Region forecast.
And it was a good day on Wall Street today as stocks were up. Here's a look at your closing numbers.
And now the forecast for the River Region. This is your Evening Edition weather.
Well, we saw highs in the lower 70s over the last couple of days, but those highs are going to start dropping down starting tomorrow. Good evening, I'm Kristen Hafner. We do have some storms that are going to be brewing into the southern Illinois area starting this evening, and although it's just going to be some isolated thunderstorms and not too much to have to worry about, it is going to produce some pretty heavy winds, and those winds are going to be sticking through to tomorrow, and we're going to be seeing some pretty high gusts. But one thing that we do have to look forward to is going to be some sunny skies this weekend. Our temperature is at 72 degrees right now, and our dew point is at 56 degrees, with our humidity at 57%, and our winds are coming from the south at 13 miles per hour, so we're already seeing those strong winds coming from those storms that we're going to be seeing here in just a couple of hours. We did have a high of 73 degrees with, we're going to be seeing an overnight low of 58 degrees, which isn't too cool, but it's not going to warm up too much tomorrow. And we haven't seen any precipitation yet. We are anticipating to see just under a half of an inch tonight from these storms. But in the southern Illinois area, temperatures are all about the same, and there are 72 here at Cape Girardeau, Carbondale, Marion, and Paducah. Mount Vernon is a little cooler at 70 degrees, and Belleville is by far our coolest, 9 degrees cooler than most of the southern Illinois area at 63 degrees. And looking at our satellite, in most of the central states here, we've got a lot of cloud coverage, and in the southern Illinois area, we saw a little bit of that sun, but we didn't have too much. It was pretty much overcast skies, and these clouds are going to start moving into our region here in just a couple of hours, but since those winds are moving so strong, so fast, they will be clearing out of our region after tomorrow. In our radar, you can see that there is quite a bit of these storms that are going to be moving. It looks like it's going to be hitting the southern Illinois area really bad, but those winds are moving from the south. They're pretty much going straight up north. So we are going to be seeing a little bit of these storms coming into our area, but it's going to be pretty isolated, and they will start clearing up tomorrow morning. Tonight we will have an overnight low of 58 degrees with those isolated thunderstorms and winds coming from the south at 17 miles per hour, and we will see gusts up to 28 miles per hour, so it's going to be pretty windy this evening. And tomorrow morning, or tomorrow for a high, we will have 58 degrees, so we're not going to see temperatures changing too much. We will have some AM showers There won't be thunderstorms, but we will be seeing some of that rain, but by the midday we will have partly cloudy skies, and those winds will be still pretty strong at 19 miles per hour. But by tomorrow night, the winds will calm down, coming from the northwest at 9 miles per hour with clear skies. So finally those clouds will clear up, but we will have an overnight low of 34 degrees. It's going to be pretty close to that freezing point, so tomorrow night is going to be very, very chilly. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we will be seeing that sun finally. We won't have any clouds to worry about. But like I said, those temperatures are going to be pretty cool. Thursday, we'll have a high of 51. Friday, a high of 57. Saturday, a high of 62. Sunday, we'll have some storms coming in. Monday, we'll see those storms, and we will have a high of 65 on both days.
All right, thanks, Kristen. Well, one legendary college football coach may be on his way out the door, and it's because of a scandal involving him and his university.
That's right. Evening Edition's Nicholas Gresham is actually in today to talk to us about that. Nick?
Yes, Joe Paterno, who has been coaching at Penn State for so long, may be forced out of his coaching position due to the acts of one of his former coordinators, Jerry Sandusky. And listen to what Coach Lennon believes are the key issues as the dogs need to fix for Saturday's Blackout Cancer game. All that and more next in sports.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the River region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
The coach with the most wins in Division I college football history may be on his way out of coaching, and it may not be by choice. It's been reported by multiple media outlets that officials at Penn State are planning to let Joe Paterno go. The reports stem from Paterno's former defensive coordinator, Jerry Sandusky, who is facing accusations of child molestation for over 15 years. Paterno was made aware of the situation in 2002 when a graduate assistant told him he saw Sandusky molesting a young boy. Police say Paterno did everything correctly when he told his athletic director, Tim Curley. But some say Paterno could have done more by getting the police involved. In his 46 seasons at Penn State, Paterno has racked up more than 400 wins and 2 national championships. And moving on to issues here, but these take place on the field. The Saluki defense have fans wondering where they went, giving up close to 34 points per game in their last 4. This after holding the #1 ranked team in the FCS in North Dakota State to only 9. One of the reasons has been the secondary, which has given up a league-high 16 touchdown passes. This has been a major factor in the team's 2-7 record. So the Dogs are back to the drawing board, trying to climb out of last place in the Missouri Valley standings when they take on Eastern Illinois Saturday.
Well, right now it's still fundamentals. We just got to be a little more confident in our tackling, and we got to rally to the football. It's nothing fancy that we got to do. It's just fundamental football and do it a little bit better.
And moving on to the pro ranks, the Chicago Bears have had their share of success against Michael Vick. The Bears were 3-0 when Vick starts against them going into last night. The Bears look to make it 4-0 as they went into Philly. Pick it up in the first. Matt Forte gets stripped by linebacker Brian Roll, who picks it up and runs it in for a 22-yard touchdown as the Eagles tie the game up at 10. This was the first time Forte had fumbled in 347 carries. And then pick it up as LaShawn McCoy takes it in for a 33-yard touchdown run. Eagles up 24-17 until the Vanderbilt connection comes alive in the fourth quarter as Jay Cutler hits Earl Bennett for the touchdown and the lead. Bennett, who missed the last 5 games, caught 5 passes and the score for 95 yards. Bears improved to 4-0 versus Vick with a 30-24 win. And the boxing world has lost one of their best, as Philadelphia native and boxing legend Joe Frazier died Monday night from liver cancer. Smokin' Joe, a heavyweight champion and an Olympic gold medalist, is best remembered for his fights with Muhammad Ali. Fighting Ali 3 times, including the Thriller in Manila, Frazier was also the first man to ever beat Ali in a fight of the century in Madison Square Garden in 1971. Frazier calling that moment in the Garden the best moment of his life. Boxing great George Foreman said on his Twitter page, "Good night, Joe. You are my dear friend, and I love you." Ali, who might not be Ali who he is today without Frazier, called Smokin' Joe a great champion. Frazier was 67. And St. Louis Cardinals GM John Mozeliak told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch that he hopes to have a new manager by next week. And today it was reported that former Red Sox manager Terry Francona interviewed with the Cardinals. Former Cubs star Ryan Sandberg and current Cardinals third base coach Jose Oquendo are expected to interview later this week. And new Chicago Cubs president Theo Epstein spent the day interviewing Milwaukee Brewers hitting coach Dale Seavam and will interview Texas Rangers pitching coach Mike Maddox. Maddox is a brother of former Cub and legendary pitcher Greg Maddux. And St. Louis Blues new coach Ken Hitchcock will make his debut tonight as a division-leading Chicago Blackhawks come to town. Hitchcock, who lifted the Stanley Cup with the Dallas Stars in '99, has his work cut out for him. Good news, because the Blues are at the bottom of the Western Conference standings. Good news for Hitchcock is that the Blues picked the right time to face the Blackhawks, who come in on a 2-game losing streak and have given up 11 goals in those 2 games. Puck drops at 7 at the Scott Trade Center.
All right, thanks for that great sportscast, Nick.
A new study about fast food may surprise you.
And find out why next. Thank you for joining us tonight. Evening Edition is online at siutvnews.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at River Region News. I'm Isabel Lewell.
And I'm David Aid. For Kristen Hafter, Nick Resham, and everyone here at the Evening Edition, have a great night.